Hey everyone, I just wanted to do a quick video about another duel that we had in our cube, kind of show off a couple more of the extra deck monsters and show how it went. So my brother starts off, he sets Blast Magician and a face down. I play Pot of Duality, revealing Naturia, Butterfly, Damage Gate, and Blast with Chain. I add the Butterfly to my hand just because my hand is a bunch of smaller monsters and I want to make a Synchro or an Exceed to basically start putting some pressure on my opponent. So I just go ahead and do a T set, pass it back to my brother. So Ryan goes, he summons Mad Sword Beast. One thing I notice about his playstyle is he always likes just committing more cards to the field. I don't know if he even needed to make a push, but he decides to do it anyway. So he summons Mad Sword Beast, forces me to 0 gravity, so I put his monsters in defense mode. For my turn, I draw. I flip up my Hane just to send Mad Sword Beast back to his hand. Yeah, it was okay. I was kind of expecting him to exceed or something like that, but whatever. So summon Naturia Butterfly, Synchro 5 for Armades, Keeper of Boundaries. He has a really interesting effect where basically during the battle step, like your opponent's not able to activate any card effects, so no flip effects, no anything like that. So I killed his Blast Magician. During his standby phase, he shrinks my monster and summons Mad Sword Beast. So Armades is at 11. I decide to lance Mad Sword Beast, putting it to, I don't know, like 600 or something like that. So he still takes 500 off the attack. He goes to 7450 and I wound up in the lead. Armades is interesting because since the pack is so focused on battle phase, being able to turn off effects, it's kind of like a questionable thing. So whatever, I go ahead and attack for 23 with him. One thing where I think that his effect is almost really useful for our cube is that it can get you out of really complex situations. Also, like, yeah, sure, you can summon it and just turn off effects and kind of just dominate. But also, there are some times where when both players have like 4 or 5 cards, you need an effect that turns off other effects to get out of that crazy complex situation. So he plays Defense Draw to draw an extra card. He draws into a Lightning Vortex, so he's finally able to clear Armades by Lightning Vortexing for the neg 1. He summons Truckroid, and he goes ahead and attacks my Maneater Bug. Basically, I had Bug set because I knew that once he started trying to clear Armades, I'd want to be able to get an answer for it. So I summoned Maui Interceptor Cannons, who's able to get a swing in for 11, and his effect is I could just set him face down. He has 2,000 defense. So Ryan goes ahead and draws Graceful Charity, draws into 2 Fabled monsters, which is absolutely absurd, and so he discards the Fabled Cerebral and Shield Crush, which I don't think was a very good play. Shield Crush is one of the best cards in the entire cube. Whatever, he goes ahead, he summons Goblin Attack Force, attacks right over my Maui Interceptor Cannons, and he summons HTS Sihemith in main phase 2. Sihemith is honestly my favorite level 6. I think it's perfect balance because it can beat down, and then if you finally create something bigger than it to run it over, he can just banish it. So creates some really great interactions. So I have to play Nightmare Steel Cage to stall out. I set a monster, set another face down. Ryan goes ahead and sets Naturia Ragweed. He's been holding on to that Penguin Soldier forever. I honestly would have set that at that point. I go ahead and summon Neospacian Air Hummingbird to gain 1500 life points. And then I flip up my Blackwing Ghibli, the Searing Wind, and overlay them for a rank 3. I go for Chronomaly Crystal Chrononaut. I'm honestly not sure why I went for him. He only has 2100 attack, and he has kind of like a Zenmain's effect where I can detach to not take any battle damage, and he can't be destroyed. I think I was just trying to basically force him to banish with Sihemith. But what he decides to do is go ahead and tribute Naturia Ragweed for Ghost Knight of Jackal. He flips Fiendish Chain on my Chrononaut, so it can't use its effect, and he ego boosts his Ghost Knight of Jackal to go up to 2700. And then when he attacks in the damage step, I rush recklessly, bringing Chrononaut to 2800, so I get to take away 100 life points and kill this monster. I only have like 3 or 4 cards at this point, so I have to kill Sihemith. So I decide to book it and tribute summon Air Knight Parshath to beat it over and draw an extra card. But he goes ahead and plays Mirror Wall, so I take whatever, like 800 life points or something like that. And now it goes on to his turn, and he just beats over my Air Knight Parshath. So that was an absolute disaster. I didn't really see the Mirror Wall coming, but I also felt like I needed to make a strong push there to get Sihemith off the field. Because if you have a strong beater, like something over 2,000 attack points on the field for a couple turns, you can get into a really difficult situation. And I don't want him to just take away free swings from me. Even though I have 8,000, I just wanted to protect my monsters. I also wanted to bait out some removal from him, so that way when I did make a push, I'd be able to get over it, but he just goes ahead and runs right over my Gurnia that I set. I'm also trying to bait him to banish it. I was like, right, do you want to banish Gurnia with your effect? But he didn't fall for it. So I do a T set. Basically, I'm just trying to stall out and protect my life points a little bit. I finally drew into a Mirror Force, so when he goes ahead and attacks, I basically 1-for-1 to get it away. He still took away like 1 or 2 of my monsters, so I honestly probably shouldn't have even set them and just taken the 6,000 to the face. I draw card Cardi and draw 2. It goes back over to Ryan. Ryan draws into Card Trooper, and he just decides to mill 3 off Trooper. So he mills his Torrential, he mills Miniaturize, and he mills a White Knight Dragon. I honestly don't think this is the way Card Trooper should be played in our cube. He attacks into my Garmer, Beast of the Nordic thing, which has 1900 defense and sends monsters back to the hand. So Card Trooper is really a way to beat over other beat sticks. Since a beat stick is 1400, Trooper is a way to get over it and then basically die the next turn. And it kind of is invulnerable to spell and trap removal because its effect lets you draw. It's a floater. But whatever, he did that thing. I summon Ancient Gear Soldier, attack for 13. He plays Shard of Greed. He summons Card Trooper and mills 3 again to run over my Ancient Gear Soldier. I let it go because obviously I'm not going to stop the Trooper and just basically waste one of my trap cards. So I go to 7550. He's at 3650. So I decided to MST his Shard of Greed. At this point, I really don't want him to claw back up and regain advantage because he kind of was able to do that with Sahemoth. So I'm basically trying to push down to as few cards as possible on his side of the field. So I summon Shield Warrior and just attack over Card Trooper. I want Shield Warrior in the graveyard anyway to help protect me. He summons Victory Viper XX03, who has 1200 attack. He just runs over my Shield Warrior, sets 1 and ends his turn. I'm at 7150, he's at 3650. So I just draw and pass. He can't get over Victory Viper, so I'm in a pretty... he can't get over Garmer, so I'm in a pretty good situation. But he draws into Marauding Captain, which is a really good card. It's honestly like a Tour Guide level card in here. Well, I wouldn't say it's Tour Guide level, but it's like the Tour Guide, except it's not broken because it special summons from the deck. So he goes ahead and special summons the Fabled Catsith, and he synchro summons for a Stardust Dragon, which is a really threatening card, especially if you had ways to protect it, and he forces me to Solemn Stardust Dragon. So now I go down to 3,575. He's at 3650. I have 3 cards. He has 5 cards. So he basically just did a great play baiting that Solemn out, even though it was completely intentional. And so now basically he's +2, and he just drew into Deslakuta, and he stalled me out with Sword. So now he has the ability to regain so much advantage, which puts me in a really difficult situation because I don't have anything that can apply much pressure except for just defensive pressure. So he plays Deslakuta. He checks that he has like 3 cards left in his deck, but he decides to set 1 face down and sets Lakuta. I read that that was a good set, so he decided to exile the force his face down, which was Penguin Soldier. He really should have played it earlier when he attacked into my... Like when I had Chrononaut. If he Penguin Soldiered Chronomaly Crystal Chrononaut, he would have easily beaten me so much earlier. But whatever, he's going to beat me now. He summons Blackwing Steam the Cloak, which, when it's removed from the field, gets a token, and then he synchros 6 for Brionic. He discards 2 cards to return my face down and my monster right back to my hand. He's kind of figuring out what he's going to do, and then he goes ahead and he summons he plays United We Stand, which makes Brionic like 4,000 attack or something like that, and he just takes away the rest of my life points. At this point, after losing basically 2 games in a row to Brionic, I feel like it is definitely too high over the power level because at any point, if you just have enough cards in your hand toward the end of the game, you can just, drop everything and go for a big swing, and it takes a lot of the back and forth grindiness out of the format. If he wasn't able to go into Brionic, it would have been a much closer game. If you look at my hand, I had Michizuri, I had Cobra Jar, I had Karakuri Nishipachi, which is a level 3 tuner. I had Garmer, so I would have had ways to basically whittle down his life points or at least stall out until, he only had 3 cards left in his deck. So I would have been able just to trade off 1 for 1, 1 for 1, 1 for 1, and lock him out of the game. So yeah, if it weren't for Brio, I would have won. But that's just another duel of the format, kind of showing the dynamism, showing how important that battle phase is. He had a really good play when he went for HTX Sahemoth just because that guy's ability is just so good. Being able to dominate the field, I had to use, I had to 1-for-1 the Mirror Force off of it. So yeah, that's how it went. Let me know what you think. Thanks.